Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Living Free. Today I have a very special treat for you. This is one of my new friends, Bethany. And Bethany, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and all the things you do?
Sure. I am a registered nurse, and I've been a nurse for about 10 years. And about 2.5 years ago, I got into functional medicine and just started pursuing all things natural, holistic health. And I'm just pursuing that journey now and becoming a nurse practitioner.
Awesome. So that's really going to be our topic for today, is basically around functional medicine and homeopathy. We were just talking about how you pronounce that. I was like, is it homeopathy? And she's like, I think it's homeopathy. I'm like, potato, tomato. But I would love for you to share a little bit of your journey, like what led you to this, because what I would love for the viewers or the listeners to know is that there are other options. And for a season, you didn't even really realize that there was alternative options to medicine.
Absolutely. So I got into the kind of natural health world through my first pregnancy, and I wanted a natural birth, unmedicated, and just started learning more about that. And it just was this gateway into this other world, herbalism and homeopathy and just complementary medicine, and it really is a whole other world. And so flash forward, I was a nurse in the hospital for several years, and just really wanted to do more. I felt like there was more I could do for patients, and I really desired to do more teaching with them and just helping them really thrive and not just, kind of mask their symptoms and just manage their present state of illness, just maintaining. So I just felt deep down that there must be more, and so just started researching and talking with like-minded people. And ultimately in 2020 I learned about functional medicine. I had never heard that phrase before.
So tell us about that, because there's a lot of people, it's kind of a buzzword. If you're in our world, we get it, but it is kind of a buzzword, and some people are like, what does it even mean? Why is it functional?
Absolutely. Yeah. Several people have maybe heard of like integrative medicine, and so functional medicine is actually its own specialty, kind of branch of medicine. It incorporates Western medicine and then also just a more broadened approach. So it's a different way of treating and managing, not just managing disease, but actually looking at the whole body as a whole system, and trying to figure out what is the cause of these symptoms, what is at the root of these diseases, and then going after that. And so instead of just pulling out the top of the weed and then we still have this recurring problem, if we go and we attack and treat the root, then we don't have those symptoms anymore. And so it just looks at the person as a whole, not individualized organs or systems, because ultimately our body's connected. And one thing leads to another, and then even emotionally and spiritually, we know that we're whole beings, and so we can't just ignore one part of a person in their treatment. So functional medicine is the why instead of the what. They're concerned with why something's happening.
Right.
And once we, get that nailed down, then we start seeing either diseases reverse, or the symptoms go away. And so someone may have received this lifelong diagnosis, but you would never know that looking at how they're living.
Wow.
So it deals with a lot to do with lifestyle, nutrition, exposure, environmental, genetics, and then also like emotional, psycho, spiritual, trauma, that sort of thing. So everything combined.
That is so cool. It's looking at the whole person holistically, body, soul, and spirit. And I love that, because I feel like oftentimes one of the missing links to conventional medicine, traditional medicine, is that if you walk into a doctor and you say, I've been having these headaches, they're probably just going to prescribe you something to take care of the headache. But in functional medicine, they go down rabbit holes to discover, why are you having recurring headaches? Let's discover and identify the root cause so we can take care of that, so you don't have to keep having headaches. You don't have to keep taking pills. So yeah, I definitely love that. And you now see even terms like functional nutrition. Dr.
Mhm.
Axe talks about that, and
Mhm.
there's functional beauty and all these different things, and it's just how everything works together. And I'm super fascinated by the way the Lord created our bodies, because everything is so intricately like intertwined
Mhm.
and works together. And there is a documentary, don't know if you've seen this, but it's called The Root Cause, and it's about oral health. And it's not a the gentleman is not a believer, so prepare for a little bit of language. But nonetheless, he goes down this path of discovering why he had this autoimmune condition that was basically killing him. Like, he thought he was dying. And I say that to say, though, that in his whole journey in this documentary, the main thing is that our oral health, every tooth is linked to an organ. And I was just mind blown. Like, everything is interconnected.
Mhm.
So even taking care of your oral health impacts the rest of your health, all of your organs. Isn't that
Absolutely.
wild?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, super incredible. Okay, so you started out by saying that, like you had shared with me, it wasn't chronic illness, it wasn't like a health crisis that led me down this path. It was my pregnancy.
Mhm.
And that is so interesting. Whereas for me, for those of you who maybe haven't heard my story, it was a health crisis that led me down this path. And prior to that, I thought that I was living a healthy lifestyle. I've always been very mindful of my health, but I mostly just followed whatever the trend was, whatever the fad was. If it was
Sure.
the Atkins diet, or if it was, the early days of like veganism with
Mhm.
lots of soy, which was a lot of processed soy, ironically, right?
Right.
This, that, and the other. And so I thought, well, I'm doing these things, the no sugar, the no fat, the whatever it was. And little did I know that I was actually causing a lot of harm to my body. And so it wasn't until I was faced with multiple years of infertility, multiple miscarriages, the last one which landed me in emergency surgery, and that's when I received my diagnosis. And I was given an incurable diagnosis that was robbing me of motherhood. And that was like the moment, where my eyes were opened, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is this thing? You're telling me it's incurable. You don't know where it comes from. I can tell you where it comes from. But I'm like, it's not from the Lord. And they don't know where it comes from, and they don't have a cure for it. It ultimately ends with a hysterectomy. And I'm like, okay, I need to research what feeds this thing, right? And what are the things that I can do to restore health to my bodies? Because I think we both agree that the Lord created our bodies to heal themselves, right? Yeah. And so what can we do to come alongside and support our bodies, nourish our bodies, fuel our bodies with the right things, with the proper nutrition, so they can function the way that we're ultimately created to function?
Yep.
Yeah. So how do you marry the worlds, being a registered nurse, but being in the functional medicine world, but you were in traditional medicine before, right? How do you marry those realities of Western medicine and then homeopathy?
There is a time and a place for both. And really, functional medicine is not an either or. It's not anti-medicine. It's not opposed to or in place of. It actually works very well with and adjunctively with, traditional medicine. And so that's what's, to me, really what sparked my interest, is that it's all evidence-based. It's backed by science and research. And unfortunately, in conventional medicine and mainstream medicine, the research is about 20 years on average behind what is currently being processed and studied and seen. And so, in functional medicine, we're using cutting edge research. And so that is what drives the protocols and the treatments and decisions that are made. And so to me, that science, research mind really, to me, married the two and made it more legitimate and credible. And it wasn't just taking, anecdotal evidence or people just sharing their stories, and which there's so much power, of course, in testimony and sharing our stories. And that gives so much hope to people. But you also need to have something to stand on. And so that's what is, and also with homeopathy, we have about 200 years worth of research.
Yeah.
So it's heavily researched, and so to me that just like helps my right and my left brain get along, and And then taking the art, nursing, we call it the art and the science of nursing.
Uh-huh.
And so the science is like everything I just described. And then the art is the human aspect. That's looking at the person, their social sphere, their family, their, history, their, socioeconomic status, what are their finances like, what's their occupation, what are their passions, what's important to you as a person, and your faith, and then putting those together in a way that is just individualized, tailored to you, the way that God uniquely designed you. And it's amazing because, like I said, we're seeing people with these quote unquote incurable diseases live an opposite reality
That's
of that.
incredible.
So
yes, that is so good. It's not an either or, it's both and. There's a place for both. And something that I feel maybe most people don't know is that, we say it in quotes, but like the Western conventional traditional medicine, that's really only come about in the last couple hundred years, really. But prior to that, you had ancient medicine. So you had homeopathy. I keep, homeopathy. That's been around forever, since like the beginning of time. So when you think about like the physician in the Bible, Luke, that was the first naturopathic doctor that we know of, in scripture. And so, to me, it's just so fascinating how the Lord placed every good thing on the earth to help to fuel our bodies and restore health to our bodies. And I think even about like garlic. You probably cook with garlic, those of you who are listening or watching. I did just last night. I made a tikka masala soup, chicken tikka masala soup, loaded with lots of anti-inflammatory properties, from the turmeric and the garlic and the ginger, etc. And garlic alone, that's like nature's antibiotic, and it does not wreck your gut health. Right. So there's a place for antibiotics though. So you have to, you just got to be informed and realize that there isn't just one way, that you actually can take back power in your health, and you can make your own decisions as to which way you want to go about treating whatever it is that you're needing help with. And, you don't just have to go the traditional path. You can actually go to a naturopath, to, a functional medicine doctor. So what are some of the ways that I guess people could look into something like that?
Oh, yeah. If you're looking for a functional practitioner, and really just to kind of backtrack a little bit, I think that we all want to be informed, and I think that's really important to be empowered, like you said, in your health decisions. And but there comes a time and a place when you really need direction. You really need an expert, someone skilled who can just guide you and walk along that journey with you. And maybe look at testing and really dive deeper into things. And so that's when working with the functional medicine practitioner really comes into play. And so the idea is not that you're depending on them, but it really is such an asset and a tool.
Absolutely.
So to find that, I always recommend going to the Institute for Functional Medicine website directly, and it's just ifm.org.
Easy.
Easy enough, and you can go, there's a place to search for practitioners in your area, and that way that they're actually certified through the Institute for Functional Medicine. Is actually a very rigorous process, several different modules, hours of work, and then a very intense test to qualify as a practitioner with IFM. So that you're just getting like the best of the best with that. It's not just someone who's just watched a few videos or read some books and is trying to do this wing it. So I think that would be a great place to start.
They didn't just go train themselves on YouTube. Right. That's awesome. That's a really great resource. Yeah. So absolutely. You said ifm.org. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, well, really we just wanted to share what is functional medicine, and so that you become aware that you do have, another option if you want to seek out a functional medicine doctor. I actually just recently made a new friend who is a functional medicine chiropractor.
Awesome.
I love this is incredible.
There's dentists, there's nurses, there's physicians, there's chiropractors, nutritionists, like you name it. Yes. You can go through this training and learn the whole systems approach.
Yes, it is so cool. Well, are there any closing thoughts, anything else that you want to leave our audience with?
I just would say don't take, no for an answer. It's not in your head. If you've been told that or if you've been silenced, just take heart and know that there are more options. And, that the diagnosis, it's just something on paper. It doesn't define you. And I really believe that when we put the right things in our bodies and then support it in the right environment, it's designed to heal. So God did a really good job. So just keep looking and find the people that align with what you're going for, and it'll work out.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's great advice. Well, thank you all so much for watching. And if you want to follow Bethany on Instagram, what are you, the semi-crunchy nurse?
Yeah.
The semi-crunchy nurse, and I will drop the link below. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.